I'm currently going through the British newspaper archives for my upcoming deep dive on Rebekah Brooks, and I found an interesting little article that I want to talk about. This is from February 2nd, 2002. We're going to look at this story down here. Royals too cozy with tabloid claim. If you know me, you know that I love a mind map, and anything that further coincides with my mind map that I'm working on, love it. Okay, let's get into it. So the Telegraph put out an article exploring the links between the palace, the press watchdog, which at the time was the PCC, and the News of the World, which was at the time run by Rebekah Brooks. Specifically deals over stories such as Harry's drink and drug revelations. Here's an interesting little snippet. The Prince of Wales's private secretary, Stephen Lamport, said that the palace had not sought the advice of the PCC over the Prince Harry allegations because, quote, they did not, in our view, raise issues about the invasion of privacy. Okay. I have yet to find the Daily Telegraph article in question, but I did find this article from February 1st, 2002, in which The Guardian talks about how the Telegraph editor, Charles Moore, wants an overhaul of the PCC. Because, among other things, Lord Wakeham, who stepped back as director, was involved in Enron, little-known company. But that's a whole can of worms that we cannot open right now. Moore also said, quote, the credibility of the PCC had already been undermined by the recent incidents, which had shown it to be too close to the royal family, end quote. He basically accuses it as a way of doing special deals with the royal family. Again, he claims that the commission brokered a deal between the News of the World and St. James's Palace over revelations that the prince had smoked cannabis and indulged in drinking. Let's do some mind mapping, shall we? To the whiteboard! We have Camilla and Charles, who are not yet married, but they are using the services of Mark Boland. He's the private secretary for Charles, but really in charge of Camilla's media image rehab. Mark Boland, well, his longtime partner and now husband is Guy Black. Guy Black works for the PCC, near the tippy top. And who are Mark Boland and Guy Black friends with? Rebekah Brooks, then Wade, who is the editor for News of the World. They even went on vacation together. So one could look at this and say, yeah, maybe there were some deals going on between the PCC, News of the World, the palace, about this Harry story, about drinking and drugs. But I think it's another potentially sad example of no one thinking about the teenager. Because as we know from another interview with Mark Boland, he fudged the timeline a bit to make the News of the World story work. And part of the idea was that they could spin the coverage into Charles being just a regular, struggling single dad, and to garner sympathy and help his poll numbers, which is gross.